Let's see. Hello, my friends. How are you all today? Hope that you're doing well. Let's see here. Do me a favor in the chat. If you can hear me, type the letter A. In the chat, if you can hear me, type the letter A. Let's see if we can get going here. Let's see. We got some hands in the room. Perfect. Great. Awesome, folks. Hang tight for me 1 second. Finishing getting set up right now. Wonderful. Here we go. All right, great. Guys, welcome everyone who's in attendance today to the 2021 Goal Setting Workshop. I don't know about you guys, but I'm super excited about 2021. And, this year has been hectic, for lack of a better term. So as we head into 2021, my only hope is that we can do so with some clarity, with ambition, with forthrightness. Like there's so much that I think about as we head into the new year. And everyone who's attending, thank you so much for being a part of this today. To begin with, what I want you to do as we start to get in here today is just, if you can hear me, go ahead and hit that wave button, say hello. Let me know where you guys are coming from this morning or afternoon or evening, depending on where you are in the world. Where are you guys today? I'm very curious. And as we get started, we got some folks from Indy, Connecticut, Texas. Where else are you guys at today? Amazing. All over the place. Got some international folks, Atlanta, Portland. Nice. Welcome, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I don't know about you, but I'm super excited to do this with you today. It's been a while since I've hosted a live workshop. As we headed into the end of last year, things were quite hectic. And so it was very much about self-care. I had to remove myself just a little bit from doing live and in person, but I am excited to be back. I am ramped up. I'm ready to go. We are here together again. And then what I want to tell you is that I'm going to give you a couple of worksheets right now for you to go and grab as we're going to use as we go through today's workshop. So what I want you to do is go to thinkunbroken.com/goals, G-O-A-L-S, thinkunbroken.com/goals. That way you can download the worksheets. We're going to have two that we're going to look at. So somebody had a question here. Where can we download the worksheets? Please go to thinkunbroken.com/goals. I'm going to give everybody a moment to download those. If you do not have access to a printer to print these off, that's okay. What I want you to do is to go and grab a piece of paper and a pen, because you're going to need it, because we are going to write some goals today. We are going to get in here today and we are going to plan out 2021, and we are going to put ourselves in a position to be successful. Yeah, and one of them, the goals, the acronym, get off of your ass and learn something. My friends, we're going to learn about how to be successful as we head into 2021. So I'm very excited for that. I don't know about you guys, but I'm always thinking about how can I make my year better? How can I make my life better? How can I work through trauma? How can I work through all of the chaos of the world to continue to move forward? And so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to put ourselves in a position to move forward, to put ourselves in a position to be successful despite everything that happens in the world. Because as you guys know, this year, no one could have predicted what has happened here in 2020. And that said, some of us has rallied and some of us have been hurt by this. And what I think about is how, as we head into 2021, whether you're on either side of this, can you seek success? Can you put yourself in a position to be successful? Can you put yourself in a position to show up for yourself, to become the hero of your own story? And ultimately, as I always say, be growth oriented and be a person who is about their life. And it's so easy to get distracted, especially with everything happening in the world, that we often get lost. And so the reason we get lost is because we don't have a trajectory. We don't have a pathway forward. We're often just kind of circulating in the universe with no real direction, and we're stuck. And the biggest thing that I want us to do as we head into next year is to not be stuck. And how do we not be stuck? By having a game plan. think about this. Anything successful that you've ever done in your life, you've had a direction towards, right? If you agree with that, I want you to hit the thumbs up. If you agree that anything successful that's ever happened in your life involved having a game plan, I want you to hit the thumbs up, because I think this is really important. And I think it's something for us to think about as well, the impact that we have when we are in this position of understanding the power that we have over our future. And that's so much about what goal setting is about. People often get lost in it as this idea of like, you have to do all these things at all the time to be successful in life. But my friends, that's not true. The biggest thing that you have to do in life to be successful is you have to move forward. Right. And moving forward is so much about putting yourself in a position to be successful. And how do you do that? And that's what we're going to talk about today. So we got you folks from all over the world. I'm super stoked to be here with you right now. Some people are watching live on Zoom. Some people are watching live on Facebook. Some people are watching live here on Instagram. And my goal here today is to spend time with you on all the platforms to make sure that we can move into next year successfully. And so again, if you're just joining, we'll give folks a couple more minutes. If you are just joining, go to thinkunbroken.com/goals, GOALS, to download the worksheets. You should have two. One is going to look like this. This is my favorite, the Get Off Your Ass and Learn Something worksheet. And then the other, my friends, is going to look like this, where we're going to do a full breakdown of all the different segments of our life as we head into 2021. So if you don't have a printer right now, that's okay. Grab a piece of paper, grab a pen, because we're going to be doing some writing. We're going to go through this together. And one more time, where are you guys joining from? I saw some Croatia, I saw some Czech Republic, Australia. We are international, my friends. Amazing. Super stoked to be here with you today. I think that this entire community around Think Unbroken and what I am trying to do to create change in the world is the reason why I do it. And it is you guys who show up every single day, who message me and comment and leave responses and email me and buy the book and read the book and listen to the podcast, make this all worthwhile. And this is just another piece of the puzzle, right? How do we put ourselves in a position to be successful right here, right now, like this? So take a couple of moments, please. Go to thinkunbroken.com/goals, GOALS, to download the worksheets. I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes to do that. And if you don't have the worksheet, grab a pen and paper, because we are going to need that. And as we go through, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them, because we have chats in all of the groups. So if you have a question, drop it in the chat. I will get to you as soon as I can. This is an interactive workshop, guys. This isn't just me talking for the next hour, though it may turn out that way. So if that's what happens, that's what happens. But I want you to know that you have the freedom to ask questions. You have the freedom to interject. You have the freedom to be a part of this, because here's the secret about this. This is your life, right? I am simply just giving you guys the tools and understanding that I have about the world to put you in a position to be successful. And so because of that, I want you to keep in mind that this is an open forum. You have my complete and utter permission to ask any questions that you have. And to do that, just hit the little question box, ask your question, leave a comment, and we will go through it together. So as we go through, it's amazing to see you guys all from all over the world. The biggest thing that I want you to start this workshop with is understanding that goals are about moving in a direction. There's no right or wrong to this. And so often we get caught up in the idea that in order for us to be successful, we have to do all of these hugely incredible things. One of the reasons that we fall into that pattern and into that belief is because we have not yet recognized that it is us as the individual who defines what success means in our life. What does success mean to you across the board, in relationships, in health, in career, in business, in personal goals, in who you are as a human being? What does success mean? So often it's a narrative that is defined by other people. And the first thing that I want you to think about as we start to head into this workshop is that it is you who is going to determine what success means in your life in 2021. And starting right now, I'm empowering you to take that with you, to think about this idea and concept that you determine success, no one else. There's no one else in this, on these chats, in these groups, in these calls, me included. No one gets to determine what success means in your life. If you believe that, if you believe that you determine what success means in your life, I want you to type yes. If you believe that you are the person that has the full control over what success means in your life, I want you to type yes and leave a comment. Yes, we're seeing it. Dylan, I see you. Alexandria, I see you. Yes, 100%. Yes, right? That's so much what this is, right? It's mindset over everything. I say this all the time. Tracy, absolutely. Yes. Like, here's the thing that you guys have to think about. The narrative in which we talk to ourselves is the thing that determines whether or not we're going to be successful in our lives. The most important thing in this entire process is mindset. The way that we think about the world will hold true in the way that we exist in the world. Think about this, and I've said this before. If we are in fact the stories that we tell ourselves, then would it not hold true that if we are telling ourselves a story that we are capable, that we are positive, that we are deserving, that we are lovable, that we can have the things that we want to have, that we then in return would have all those things? To me, that answer is yes all day. If I believe that I can have these things in life, then that means that I can. Now, that said, there's, of course, a ton of work involved in getting to that place. And the reason that there's a ton of work involved is because, as you know, no one's going to hand you anything and no one's coming to rescue you. But the greatest part about that understanding is that you are the one in control over what happens next. That means that life is in your hands. And look, if you are someone like me who has experienced a vast amount of trauma, and maybe you're dissociated and the world's upside down and you're trying to figure this out, the biggest thing that you can do is sit down and do what we're about to do and write out the direction of your future. Because when you have a direction and something to move towards, now you have an understanding of who it is that you are as a person. To just aimlessly wander the earth is how we get to this place where we're like, what in the hell is happening in my life? How many times have you been like pausing, reflecting out into the world and thinking, what's going on? How did I get here? Why is my life like this? And that this could be good or bad or indifferent, but you're having this thought of like, I don't understand how I got here. That is so much about this place of not being in a position of understanding that you have control, right? And so as we head into this, that's the biggest thing that I want you to think about is you have control over everything that's going to happen in your life. If you agree that you have control over everything that's going to happen in your life, I want you to hit yes again. I want you to type yes. I want you to start thinking about this and carrying it with you. If you believe that you have control over everything that's going to happen in your life, type yes. Leave a comment because I want you to take that with you. I want you to start empowering yourself. Think about this. If we are, in fact, the words and the stories that we tell ourselves, then if we tell ourselves that we can, then that means that we can. And that's the biggest thing that you have to take with you through all of this, that you have the ability to do anything. Look, I get it. The world has shit on us for so long and told us we're not good enough, we're not strong enough, we're not capable enough. Our own family, our friends, our peers, our neighbors, our teachers, everyone has told us you can't. Well, I'm telling you right now that you can. Now, that can is only going to be determined by the effort in which you're willing to put in. And if you are not willing to put that effort in, then guess what? It's not going to happen, right? But if you believe, if you really start to change this narrative within your own mindset and move towards it every single day while understanding that, guess what? There is no such thing as an overnight success, then in time, everything will be different. Right? So number one is changing the thought process we have about thinking whether or not we have the ability to be successful in our life. The more that you reinforce within your own psyche that you are capable, the more capable you will become. Every single time that you tell yourself, I can't, guess what's going to happen? You're not going to be able to. And so the number two thing that I want you to think about as we head into this is eliminating the power of the word can't from your vocabulary. One of the biggest things that will destroy you in this process of not only healing and recovering from trauma, but moving towards goals and trying to be successful in your life is the power of words. And that word can't is toxic and poisonous and will steal from you and take from you every single bit of your being. And the reason that happens is because the moment that you say, I can't, you've already eliminated possibility. The moment that you say, I can't, then you have already put yourself in a position in which you will not be successful because you have predetermined you will not be. Does that make sense? Think about this. How many times have you put yourself in a position where you've said, I can't do this, and thus you didn't? It's easy, right? You can probably count 1,000,000 times on your hand, right? Same. I think about all these times in my life where I said, I can't lose 150 pounds. I can't quit smoking. I can't quit not taking care of myself. I can't. And if you think about the power that that word has, it's going to control everything that happens in your life. But again, who's in control here? And I'm pretty sure it's you. You are the person that is in control of everything that's going to happen in your life. So think about the power that your mind has when it comes to words that are negative. Because if positive words can bring you up and put you in a position to be successful, then it's just as true that negative words will bring you down. To say, I can't, don't, won't, shouldn't, like those things are in your way. Those words are boundaries that you have to move through and get over in order to be successful. Because every time that you say you can't, guess what? You're not going to be able to. So if you do anything, I want you to stop saying that you can't. And the reason is because the moment that you change that narrative, you're going to move forward in a greater pace than you ever have. The third part of this, before we get started, so again, part one is just adjusting the mindset, giving yourself the freedom and the ability to understand that you have the control here, right? Number two is using the word can't and taking it out of your vocabulary. You have to stop. The word can't is not allowed to exist in your vocabulary. If you want to be successful in your life in any capacity, that word has to go away. And then number three is patience. Any of the clients that I work with one-on-one in coaching, I always tell them patience is the key to everything in life. Because here's the thing, goals, and as we step into them, we're going to talk about the importance of having a time restraint around them. We're going to talk about the importance of having a direction to them. But the biggest thing that I want you to take away from this is that patience is at the cornerstone of all of this, because it is only through patience and time that we're going to achieve the things that we want to achieve in life. If you think about this, no one did anything great overnight, right? We hear about overnight successes all the time, but the truth is that most of those overnight successes were 10, 15, 20, 30 years in the making. I think about my own healing journey in this process. It's taken me well over a decade to get to where I am in life. And I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I'm still healing. I'm still trying to put myself in a position to be successful every single day, while understanding and knowing that the direction that I'm moving in life is about 20 years down the road, right? How can I do things now to set myself up for success in the future? That's so much about what patience is, right? As we look at goals for 2021, like you may recognize that some of these goals will take you 9 months, 10 months, 12 months. You may not accomplish it till the last day of next year. But the point is that we continue to move forward every day, no matter what. That's what this is about. How do we continue to be patient and move forward and trust within ourselves that we have the ability to be successful in this life? And the way that you do it is just day by day. And of course, look, I'll be the first one to tell you, like, I'm not the most patient person in the world, but I've had to develop that skill. It's almost a talent, right? To put yourself in a position to say, you know what? I am going to show up for myself today. I'm going to be patient with myself today, and I'm going to do the things that I said I'm going to do. And so the last part of this, as we get in, is accountability. Look, that word is often the elephant of the room, because often we want to blame the world for why we can't find success in our life, why we didn't reach our goals, why we can't have happiness or love or peace or companionship or whatever that thing is. And we look at the world and we go, this is your fault, world. This is your fault. The reality is that we all are culpable for our own lives. We are the only people in control over what happens next. And in order to be accountable, you have to take a step back and acknowledge within yourself that, yes, this is on you. I mentioned it a moment ago. No one is coming to save you. And that's not a bad thing, right? There's this narrative that exists, especially in Western culture, where we expect that suddenly someone's going to swoop in and change everything about our life. But guess what? You have the ability to do that for yourself. And that, my friend, should be a feeling of empowerment. You should feel strong, understanding, and knowing that you are the person who gets to be their own hero. And you do that by making yourself show up and do the hard things, even though they're hard, right? This is where, again, coming to part two, thinking about can't and the power of that word. When can't controls your life, it's easy to remove accountability from yourself and blame the world. What I want you to do is be accountable for the amazing things that you do in your life. Look at them and go, I am capable of this success. I am capable of being this person. I am the one who is going to lead myself into what's next. So as we head into today's workshop, that's what I want you to carry with you. Can you change your mindset? Can you stop using the word can't? Can you be accountable? And can you be patient? That's so much about what this is. Like if I were to take those 4 pillars and put them on the ground, that's how we begin building a foundation, through those 4 steps. So I'm really excited to get into the workshop here with you guys. Again, if you haven't done it yet, go to thinkunbroken.com/goals, download the worksheets. You should have 2, right? One that says goals, an acronym means get off of your ass and learn something. And the second one is going to be a breakdown of our whole year and all these different elements of our life. Now, if you don't have a printer, that is okay. Just grab a piece of paper. I'm going to give you about another minute, and then we're going to get started making our 2021 goals so that we can be successful together. So one more time, guys, as we're coming together here, let me know, where are you? Where are you at right now? Where are you watching this in the world? Who are you with? Are you with your friends? Are you with your family? What's going on in your world right now? Where are you? I see some folks from all over the place. Man, it's crazy. Australia, the US, Canada, we are international, my friends. Los Angeles, I definitely need a trip to Los Angeles. It's crazy as we are in this COVID time that we have the ability to connect like this. And I'm very, very grateful that we do. And I hope that we can continue to connect like this and grow together. It's really powerful to be able to be in this situation where we have this tool. I do miss you guys. I wish we were face to face. I wish I was in the beaches of Australia with you, or in Thailand, or anywhere else in the world. But you know what? It's okay because we can connect like this. So as we head in, we're going to look at the first worksheet. And this one is a breakdown of our entire year, right? So in 2021, this worksheet you're going to see at the top says statement of purpose. No, if you do not have a printer, what I want you to do is grab a piece of paper and do your best to outline it like this, okay? So at the very top, the first thing that we're going to do is write statement of purpose. And so give yourself a little bit of space, and then you're going to write my core values, and then we'll go on in that in a second. So the first thing that I want you to think about is statement of purpose, right? What does that mean? What does that mean? And the answer to that question is, your statement of purpose is the way that you want to show up in your world in 2021. Your statement of purpose is about the thing that's going to drive you to be successful in the coming year. The statement of purpose is that part of you that you are going to leverage when things get hard and you want to quit and you don't want to do this anymore and you just want to stay at home and you don't want to do all the hard things that are on this list that are towards your goals. That statement of purpose is going to be the catalyst for keeping you going when you need the extra boost, right? For me, and I'll read you mine. My statement of purpose is to create change in the world through showing up for myself, right? I think about this all the time, this idea of the airplane scenario and the stewardess coming on and saying, put your oxygen mask on first. Before you help anyone else, put your oxygen mask on first. And the importance of putting ourselves in a position in which we have to take care of ourselves first so that we can in turn take care of the world. And that is my number one statement of purpose for 2021. How can I make sure that I create change in the world through first showing up for myself, doing the hard things, taking care of myself, giving myself the space, doing everything on the list that I say I'm going to do? And so I want you to do is take a moment here and write your statement of purpose. In one sentence, how do you convey to yourself the person that you want to be and how you want to show up in 2021? What does that look like for you? Is it, I want to be a great father. I want to be a great sister. I want to be a great business owner. What is it that drives you into 2021? And I challenge you to make it a little bit more intrinsic. I want to show up like this for that reason, right? If you look at mine, I want to create change in the world for myself first, which then in turn creates change in the world for others. So your statement of purpose should start with being intrinsic and thinking about how you want to show up for yourself to impact whatever it is that you want to accomplish. Right. And I'm not saying you have to come and change the world, guys. Like that to me is not everyone's thing. I get it. Like if you rewind 10 years ago, you asked me if I would be in this position having this conversation with you. The answer is absolutely not, right? The universe, God, spirit, whatever you want to call it, has driven me to this place where now I do what I do with Think Unbroken, and that is my choice. We often find ourselves thinking about purpose being this greater than us scenario in which we have to give ourselves to the world. And I don't believe that's true, right? Sometimes your statement of purpose is, I just want to feel good about myself, so I'm going to do hard things. It's simple as that. What is true for you is not true for everyone else, and vice versa. So take some time, write that statement of purpose. And one more time, I'll share mine. And that is to create change in the world through showing up for myself. And so what does that mean? That means ultimately that in order for me to be successful, I'm going to have to do hard things, because my goal, my overarching goal in life is, how do I help 1 million people get out of the vortex and become the hero of their own story? Like that's paramount. Like that is the number one goal to me. And how do I do that? Like this, every day, showing up, doing the hard things. Next, we're going to move on. You're going to write another line. It says my core values. Okay. Your values are so incredibly important in this journey because so often they are the baseline and the catalyst for all of the change that occurs in our life. Without having values, it's kind of just like moving along in life without purpose, right? And so values are going to be the very thing that you're going to hold on to alongside with that statement of purpose that are going to move you forward, because they're very much hand in hand, right? I think about this often. You can't have one without the other. And so when I think about values, I'll give you mine. Mine are honesty, self-actualization, leadership, kindness. And then the fifth one, it kind of ebbs and flows, but right now it's empathy. And it will change. And all of these can change because values, they are not locked into place. There's no rule that says that one value has to forever be all of your values. So if that's not clear, let me know. Leave a comment, say something so I understand, and I'll go into this deeper. But when I think about values, this is what I want you to understand. Values are these key words in your life that define who you are to a sense, right? And so my number one core value is honesty, because I believe that that is the key and the cornerstone to success in life. How can I be honest every day with myself first, right? And that's so much an intrinsic reflection on my life. When I think about this idea of honesty, it's looking at understanding my past being this thing that led me to a place where I was never honest with myself. And every day as I reflected and looked in the mirror, I felt like I was lying to myself because I was never honest with me first. And so now, in order for me to serve, to show up, to be the Michael that's here in front of you right now, honesty is what has driven that. So if you know one of your values, just leave the word in the comments. I'm so curious. I would love to know what you guys are thinking about values. If there's a single word, if it's hope, love, kindness, joy, if it's whatever that is, leave a comment. Let me know what one of your values are. And so, again, mine are honesty, self-actualization, leadership, kindness, and empathy. And your values can be anything, right? There is no right or wrong to this. There is no answer that is going to be incorrect. Authenticity, yes, I love that one, right? That's an important value because authenticity is so often a catalyst for change. Can you show up as yourself every day, right? And there's so much judgment in the world. Think about this. There's so much judgment in the world where people say you need to bend your will and you need to be this kind of person. But being authentic will push you against that grain and help you stand above every single time. I love that word. If you have other words, write them in the comments. Integrity. Yeah, integrity is so important, right? I think about integrity in my life and in the past and looking at that and being like, I have none. Like seriously, like having no integrity, like having no idea in my life of who I was or how I wanted to show up for myself. And looking at the power of that word, it's beautiful, it's potent, it's important. I love integrity, so important, such a great word. Anyone else have one? Kindness. Yeah, I'm right there with you. And that's one of my key values too. I think about how often in my life I leverage the idea that kindness was wrong. Right? Why would I want to be nice to people when the world's always mean to me? Why would I want to be kind to people when no one's ever kind to me? And you recognize that kindness is actually about us, right? I find myself being kind for me first. It's the same way that I show up for myself. These core values, the world may look at them in a certain way, but they are such a reflection of who we are. Our core values are who we are. That's why they are core values. And so when I think about mine, honesty, self-actualization, leadership, kindness, and empathy, that is who I am at my core. That's who I am. That is who Michael is. I have built that into myself because those are the things that I lacked. Those are the things that I did not have. So take some time, think about those core values, and we're going to move on, start getting into the juicy part, the goals. Now, look, guys, the reason why we wrote our statement of purpose and the reason why we wrote our core values is very simple, because those are going to be the baseline and foundation for everything that we do moving forward. And I know some of you guys are just joining. So if you are just joining, you want to download the worksheets, go to thinkunbroken.com/goals. And there's going to be 2 worksheets, the goals worksheet, which is an acronym for get off of your ass and learn something. And then the other worksheet is going to be the year breakdown, which we're on right now, looking at our statement of purpose, our core values. And next, we're going to break into our goals. So in the goals, the first thing that you're going to do, if you are writing this on a piece of paper and you don't have a printer, make 3 equal size boxes underneath your core values. Make them about 3 inches by 3 inches. You can do a square, you can do a rectangle, whatever. Make sure that they just fit together. You'll see here, they'll kind of look like this. I'm going to kind of move the camera. Hopefully you can see this paper. Now reflecting on the idea, I probably should have done a screen share, but too late. We'll figure that out next time. So in the first box, we're going to call that personal. So these are going to be our personal goals for the year. The second box is going to be our relationships. And the third box is going to be spiritual. Okay. So I'm going to go through here. We'll talk about each one, and then you can kind of break it down for yourself and what these mean. So personal goals to me are about growth. Personal goals to me are about challenging yourself in a way that is going to make you better than you are today. Like, I'm constantly thinking about the idea that I am nowhere close, not even in the spectrum of being the person that I want to be, right? This comes back to what I was talking about in regard to patience. Like, I'm thinking about my life 20 years from now. And 20 years from now, who will that Michael be? And the personal goals that I have are going to push me towards that. One of the things I'll show you quickly is this is what my goal sheet for 2020 looked like, right? Still broken down in the same way. I didn't have a printer at the time because I was traveling, and now I have a printer, so I printed it, but I just used a piece of paper and I wrote it down. And then I took this and I put these goals somewhere I could see them every day. And so what's going to happen is when we finish filling out these goals, you are going to take this piece of paper, whether you wrote it or whether you just printed it, You're going to put it on your vision board, your bathroom mirror, your refrigerator. Put it somewhere where you're going to be able to see it every single day, because every single day we're going to make little bit of moves to move forward a bit at a time, right? That is what this is about. How do you continue to move forward every single day, just little by little? And so personal goals are about, how do you grow? How do you personally grow? How do you challenge yourself, right? And so I'm going to give you a couple of mine as you think about what are important to you. This way you can have some ideas. One is, I want to read 30 books. In 2021, I want to read 30 books. My goal for last year was to read 30 books. I read, at this point, 26. I'm super close, not going to make it. That's okay. Not going to beat myself up for it. Like, reading 30 books to me is super feasible. Now, how do you do that? Because people say, well, that's a lot of books. Well, I read both paperback, Kindle books, and if I love an audiobook, I'll sit there on 3x and I'll just pound it into my brain. So reading 30 books, even though that sounds like a huge number, is super achievable. And the point is, coming back to earlier, even if you don't hit that number, that's not what it's about. The number is arbitrary, right? The goal is about moving forward no matter what every single day. So personal goal for me, read 30 books. I'm going to give you another one, and that is to get my motorcycle license. Now, I want to get a motorcycle license in America because I have now driven motorcycles in 12 countries around the world, and I would like to at some point do that here as well. It's a little bit easier to do this around the world. Here it's a little bit, you should have one. You should have one anyway. I will say this, I should have one. This is on me. Just a lot of countries in the world don't require it. And I started riding bikes when I was very young, so I'm experienced, but I want to do that legally, not because I want to ride one around the city. It's a bit dangerous. You know, if I'm in Mexico, if I'm in New York or Chicago or LA or wherever, not for me. I just want to have it so I could say I have it, right? A couple years ago, 2017, one of my personal goals was to get my personal training certificate, and I was an ACE certified personal trainer. Took the 4-hour test, studied for a month, did all the things, right? Never did anything with it. It was a challenge to myself of, can I put myself in a position to force myself to learn something, to grow, to be different, to be better, right? And then I'll share one more personal goal with you and we'll move on, is to only use social media for work. And the reason that's one of my goals is because it's really easy to get consumed in social media. I'm pretty good at not using it for unwork related things, but often I find myself 10 minutes in going, what am I doing? Like, what is happening right now? And so what I think about is, how do I use that less and less and less? So if you want to share a personal goal, please leave it in the comments. Please leave it in the chat. Up to you. You don't have to. I'm super curious about your personal goals. If you have questions about personal goals, leave it in the comments, leave it in the chat, ask a question. I want to make sure that we utilize this time to narrow down and break down what those goals mean for you. So if you have those thoughts, if you have questions about personal goals, leave a question, leave a comment, we'll dive in. And then I'll share, as we're going through that, one more time. If you're just joining, go to thinkunbroken.com/goals, GOALS, and download today's worksheets for this workshop. Moving forward, relationships. Now, relationship goals are going to be in a lot of different buckets. Quickly, how specific do we need to be? I think that being hyper specific can be super helpful, but it also can be detrimental. So I say this to take with a grain of salt, right? So if you look at read 30 books being one of my personal goals for 2021, right? Then that number, that can either be something that is going to drive me crazy and become cumbersome, and suddenly I'm like, read a book, read a book, read a book, right? And it's just overtaking my life. Or I go, that's this really lofty goal. I'm going to move towards it as much as I can in the hopes that I accomplish it, right? So think about that. Specificity is really about whether or not having something specific is going to change the way that you move towards it, right? Because I have some very general goals that just say, okay, can I do this within the year? But then I have other goals that have dates around them as well. Let's say you need to accomplish this by this time, right? So Great question. Relationship goals. So relationship goals can be all over the place. That can be work relationships, family relationships, spousal relationships, relationships with strangers. I mean, it's about relationships in general, right? And I think about this is, how do you want to show up in the world? How do you want to be with other human beings? To me, that across the board is relationships. Sometimes these buckets fall into each other. Sometimes they need to be separated out. A couple of mine that I think about is I want to continue to reconnect with my siblings, right? And so working towards that, trying to make efforts, trying to show up to be in connection with them. As many trauma survivors like ourselves come from these backgrounds, they lead us to this place where human connection is very difficult. Right. And so I used to be an emotional recluse. I very much was in this place where I constantly was disconnected from the world and reality. And that is not how I want to be. That is not how I want to show up in the future in all relationships, right? I want to, in all relationships, in all capacities, I want to make sure that I can connect as a human being. And that falls into the relationship with myself as well. Like, how can I connect better with myself every single day, right? And that may fall into other buckets. But thinking about that is so much of, when I put myself in a position to show up for myself, does that mean that I am connecting closer with other people? Yes, absolutely it does. And relationships with yourself are so much a part of this as well. Great comment here. Relationship with myself, honoring whom I am. There's nothing more important than that, right? If we show up for ourselves first, then that will pay dividends for the world. Excuse me one second. So as you're thinking about relationships, you can be hyper specific about this, right? You can say, I'm going to call my dad I haven't talked to in 10 years. I'm going to quit this job that I don't like. I'm going to do whatever, right? Those relationships you can hyper define, right? And so that's up to you. Can you be specific here? Can you lay it out? Another one of my relationships goal, this is with myself, open myself to more vulnerability. Thinking about, how can I be brutally honest with myself at all times at an even deeper scope and scale than I am right now? How can I be open to the idea that I can share myself as I am without the fear of ramification, which is very scary, right? Because we're always being challenged with the thought process of, you have to be a certain way to be seen in the world. And my challenge is, how can I push against that more than I already do? Might be like a tattoo on my face or something. And then the last box is spiritual. And spiritual, this can be religious or not. To me, spirituality is about my connectedness with the world, with the universe, with humanity, with everything. And I think about, first and foremost, again, coming to myself in spirituality and thinking about, what does that really mean to be spiritual? And it's a self-defined narrative. Like all the other things that we've talked about, spirituality is self-defined. The parameters that you set around it are about you. And one of mine is to meditate daily. I have ebbed and flowed with meditation for a very long time. I've been in these positions where it's been a daily practice, and I've been in these positions where it has not. And as I move forward in life and get busier and busier, the thing that I need to do, and why this is one of my goals, is I need to hit the pause button. I need to take a step back. I need to think about, what does it mean to connect with myself on a daily basis? And when I'm in that self connection, can I turn off everything else? Can I turn off the world, right? And that's such a big deal, because we get caught up so often in this place where the world is consuming us and everything that we do. And that happens all of the time. And I don't know about you, but I need to hit the pause button sometimes. And so the thing that I'm thinking about when it comes to spirituality is, can I connect with myself at a deeper level every single day for a few minutes? And I don't think meditation has to be 25 minutes or 45 minutes or anything like that. Sometimes it's 5 minutes. I wake up, have my coffee, sit down, and I'm just with myself, staring out the window, watching the sunrise, enjoying the company of myself to connect and get ready for the day. Another one, and this fell into this here as well. Now, I don't know if we're going to be able to do this in 2021 because I don't control the world, but I'd love to go to an in-person yoga seminar. Like, I would love to be able to do that. It's been on my list for a while now. And I feel like this year is the year that I really want to do it. 10 days, yoga, whatever. And the last one is connect with nature more, because I think that that is such a part of spirituality is nature. How can we be a part of this universe and this thing that we are in right now? So first set of goals, you guys are going to have more time to go through this. And one of the things I want you to think about as well is these goals right now may be your goals in this moment. And as the year goes and as you move forward, those goals may change. Those goals may adjust. Give yourself the space and leniency to be able to adapt and change with those. One of the worst things that you can do is look at these goals and be totally removed from them and say, I don't want to do that, and move forward towards it anyway. One of the things about this and my core value of self-actualization means that I don't want to do things that don't feel aligned with who I am at the time that I'm doing them, right? It's so easy to get caught up in this idea that you have to. The only thing that you have to do is show up for yourself in an honest and authentic way. So think about that as we continue to move forward. And the other part of this is recognize that you have time to come through and readjust and then reaffirm these goals over the next couple of days. This is baseline, right? This does effectively become the direction that you move for the year, but this is baseline. So this is a great jumping off point, right? So as we move into the next section, what I want you to do is make 3 more boxes, same size as the last if you do not have the sheet. Again, if you're just joining and you want to download the worksheet, go to thinkunbroken.com/goals. Download the 2 worksheets. We're looking at the one that is the breakdown for 2021 that looks like this. This is the breakdown for 2021. We've at this point talked about our statement of purpose, our core values, our goals, personal, relationship, and spiritual goals. We are going to now jump into health, adventure, and hobbies. So on the 3 boxes you just made under personal, relationships, and spiritual, you're going to write health, adventure, and hobbies. And if you're just joining and you want to watch the replay of this will come up right after this. I'm also going to put this on the Think Unbroken and Michael Unbroken podcast. So if you want to hear the audio version of this only, you're welcome to. It's going to be on the podcast. That'll go up later today or tomorrow. It'll go on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, the whole 9. So if you're just joining and you want to catch the other hour that we've almost done in this 2021 goal setting workshop, you are welcome to do that. But we're going to move on. Real quick, I want to check in. How's everybody doing? Are you learning? Are you growing? Are you discovering like what is happening in your world right now? I hope that you guys are starting to take some things away from this. If you have questions, again, leave them in the comments, hit that question mark, and we'll answer them for you. But I hope that everybody's learning a lot. Love to see some thumbs up here. Let me know how it's going. Let me know what's going on in your world. And then we'll move on in just 1 second. So lots of thumbs up, lots of hearts. We're doing it, guys. You're welcome. I'm happy to be here. You know, it makes me, it's an honor to be able to come in here and present and teach and give you guys what I understand about the world. And my hope is to continue to do this every single month, which we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. So moving forward, health goals. This is so important. I think about this a lot. You know, when you come from a trauma background and you're bathed in cortisol and your brain and body are dissociated and you are in this place where everything is upside down and your body is sick, health is that one thing that you need. And for a long time, I was viciously sick. And in fact, almost 6 years ago, I died. Almost died. Excuse me. I didn't die, or I wouldn't be talking to you. 6 years ago, I almost died. And that was a reflection of the way that I cared about myself. 150 pounds overweight, smoking, drinking, partying, had paid its dividends, and I had to pay the tax man. I had to show up and pay the taxes for all the partying. And about 6 years ago, I got viciously sick. And so when I put this worksheet together for the Think Unbroken Academy a couple years ago, I was thinking about the importance of health and health having goals attached to it as well. And so what I want you to think about is when it comes to your personal health, how do you want 2021 to go? Right? It could literally be as specific as don't get COVID, Like it could be that, right? For me, I'll share a couple of mine. My number one is don't get sick. If you look at my 2020 goals under health, number one, this is last year's goal, don't get sick, right? You can't control that. You can only do the things that you can do. Limiting the sugar, trying to sleep, not drinking so much, exercising, blah, blah, blah. You guys all know all about that, right? But to me, that is a mindset thing, right? If I can tell my brain not to get sick, can I effectively make that happen? I don't know. I don't get to control that much. I try. So I think about that and the importance of health. Don't get sick. Next is lose 10 pounds. Not gonna lie, COVID got me. I threw on a few LBs, not enough where I'm like, holy crap, like, this is out of control like it used to be. No, it's just very much about like, tighten up, get back to where you were. 10 pounds to me, not a huge number. I'm not thinking 87 pounds or something unachievable, but I'm thinking about over the course of a year, like, where can I get to? And that's where that is. And another health goal that I'll share with you is run a half marathon. My goal to be able to do that, I used to be able to do that, and I want to do it again. I want to be able to run that distance nonstop again. And so that is one of my health goals. What are one of your health goals? Leave a comment below. I'd love to know what one of your health goals are. I'd love to know how you are showing up for yourself in 2021, right? How do you want to show up in 2021 when it comes to your personal health? Leave a comment here. Would love to see where you guys are at before we move on to the next one. And then the last goal that I'll share for you as you guys are filling this out and typing here is to be pain-free. And thinking about what that means in this healing journey, to understand that yes, we are always going to be in some sort of pain because that is human nature, but how much can I do to mitigate that? Can I eliminate inflammation? Can I take my vitamins? Can I sleep well? Can I do all the things that put me in a position to be successful when it comes to being pain-free, right? And that's going to determine a lot in my life. Like, can I do that? Next, looking at adventure, this is about fun, right? There's space here to have fun. And I don't want people to forget that. Yes, life and a lot of what we do, we take very seriously, and we look at and we go, I have to do this because I have to, and blah, blah, blah. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves, but where's the fun? Where's the part of us that says, I'm going to do something really fun and really interesting and different, that even as a challenge, to get uncomfortable? When I look back at 2018, one of my goals was to live in Asia. And I did that. And I just packed my bags and I sold all my stuff and I went and I moved to Asia. And as of today, I've lived in 13 different countries or something crazy. And I mean like a month at a time, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months at a time. And that was so much about my adventure goals. Like, how can I really go and experience life? What does it mean to have adventure in your life? What does it mean to be able to have some fun, guys? Like, I can't express this enough. There is nothing wrong with having fun. Go enjoy life. And yes, I understand COVID. Fine. So what? Whatever. What else can we do? What can you do to have fun in your life? What can you do to have adventure? What can you do to show up for yourself, even though you have all these other things that you have to move towards? Again, the purpose of having goals in a year parameter is so you can move towards them when time is appropriate, right? There is no number that says, okay, this is the time, this is the date, this is the place, right now, no questions asked, this is when I have to hit that goal. We are not getting that hyper specific. Can we? Sure, of course we can. But also, do you have to? And that's so much a part of this. Do I have to, especially when it comes to adventure, put myself in this position where I have to put all of the scope of parameters around my goals and say, okay, I have to do this here and then and now. And I think part of that, you lose the joy of the unknown, right? And that's why, like, if I go on a vacation or if I hop on a plane to somewhere I've never been before, there's no itinerary. I'm like, let me get on the plane, let me land and see what happens. That's so much of adventure, right? And so I'm going to share a couple of my adventure goals. I want you to share your adventure goals in the comments right now. One of my adventure goals is to travel to 3 new countries. So I'm thinking about in 2021, even though it is the time of COVID, right? Can I travel? Is that going to happen? I don't think it'll happen in the first quarter. I don't think it'll happen in spring, but by summer, by August, right? Can I be in a position where I get to go and travel and see 3 new countries next year, right? And so part of that also comes into, can I budget? Can I save money? Can I put myself in a position to be able to do that, right? Because sometimes these goals take other parts of you to be able to achieve and to be able to accomplish, right? And so travel to 3 new countries. And we have someone wrote, I want to travel to a state I've never been to. That's huge. Like, that's an adventure. There's fun in that, right? Experiencing something new is fun. It should be fun. It should be adventurous. It should be about trying something you've never tried before. And that's what it is. Can I go to a state I've never been to? Can I go to a town I've never been to? Can I go rock climbing for the first time? Can I learn to ride a bike? Can I go surfing, which is one of mine on my adventure, says go surfing again. I am terrified of the ocean, guys. Fucking terrified. And I've been surfing like 20 times because I want to challenge myself to overcome that fear. And so part of my adventure is, can I go surfing again in 2021? And I don't know if that's going to happen, but it's on the list. And then, yeah, and a great point. Adventures can be small. That's right. Adventures can be small. It's about going and having fun. It's about showing up for yourself, enjoying the day, enjoying your life, having joy, right? This trauma shit is so serious all the time, guys. Like, and I get it, right? It's always about healing, growing. But that's why we have spots for adventure. We have spots for hobbies, because we want to put ourselves in a position where it's not always so serious. Because guess what? I don't know if you know this or not, you're not going to make it out alive. Like, it's just not going to happen. I'm sorry. Sorry if I have to break that to you. If you didn't know this, you're going to die. So you might as well have a little bit of fun, right? And I used to not think about fun. I used to think that fun was bullshit. It was an excuse for not showing up, not working, not doing all the things. But now I think about it as like a necessity. Can I enjoy my life? And so I'm going to challenge you guys to think about this when you're filling out the adventure goal. Can you enjoy your life on your terms, doing something that you want to do? And that's so much what this is about. This is about you. The entirety of this is about you. And then hobbies. This one's fun, right? I think about hobbies in a different capacity than adventure, because hobbies to me are also in line with like honing a skill. Now, that's my take on it. Again, this is something for you to self-define, but I think about hobbies as like honing a skill. How can I take this thing that I'm interested in and just learn more about it, grow more with it, discover more about it? And years ago, my hobby was, can I just write? Can I blog? Can I like create words on paper? Because I'm really interested in books. At that point, 2016, 2017, I was reading like 40 books a year. And I started reading when I was young. I've always loved reading. Part of it was escapism, right? But part of it was curiosity. And I remember like being in elementary school, having a book hidden underneath like the school book about whatever thing I wasn't interested in, and just being buried in like the adventures of people's lives and the world and all of these things. And so my hobby of like, can I just blog for fun? Can I write for fun? Can I do this thing? Turned into now writing a #1 best-selling book. Like, I mean, that hobby, and look, that wasn't expected, right? So think Unbroken, this paperback book that I wrote that ended up being #1 and sold copies all around the world, literally only started because my hobby at the time was writing. I said, can I write? Can I just like take some things in my head, put them down on paper and create something? And that was the hobby. And so as you think about hobbies, like, can you kind of craft something? That's what I think about. Like, people talk about knitting. And for me, I like playing games. Like, I want to play more board games. Like, that's a hobby to me. I want to write more poems. Like, that's a hobby to me. Like, I want to get better at certain things, right? That's hobbies. And so they're going to depend. It may be like woodworking for you, or leatherworking, or any of the thing. I mean, like, realistically, like for some people, it might be gaming, right? And like, that's fine. That's fine, whatever, because this is your life. It's your 2021. It's how you want to show up in the world. This is about you. And so if you feel like that is the thing that you need in your life, well, damn it, own it, do it. Like, that's what this is about. So as we head into the last section, which is career and financial. So again, if you're just joining and you want to watch this again, the replay is going to go up, and I'm going to air this as a podcast on the Michael Unbroken podcast, so you can listen to this. If you're just catching up, because we're heading towards the end here of this hour, And you can go to thinkunbroken.com/goals to download the worksheets. Right now, again, if you're joining, we are looking at the 2021 worksheet. Sorry, guys, I was just thinking I should screen share this. I mentioned this earlier ago, but this is what it looks like. We've gone through our statement of purpose, our core values, our personal, relationship, spiritual, health, adventure, and hobby goals. And now we're going to talk about career and financial. One of the things that I think probably took me longer to work through than anything was really navigating career and financial goals, because I kind of just was going about life. And that's so much about what this conversation has been about, right? How can we put ourselves in a position to be successful? That includes our career and financial goals. Now, look, I get it. COVID has struck. Like, so many people are impacted by it. I'm sorry. Like, the reality is, like, that is a thing. But that doesn't mean that we can't still have goals. That doesn't mean that, it's just like this, like, trauma's happened to us. Some of us have survived some really bad things. That doesn't mean we can't have goals. That doesn't mean we shouldn't have goals. That doesn't mean we shouldn't move forward in our lives every single day in the effort to get better or to change our life and live on our terms. And that's so much what this is about. So even if you have been impacted by COVID, and I'm so sorry if you have, it fucking sucks. I wish it wasn't like this. I know we all do. I still want you to think about, how do career and financial goals play a role in 2021? Because money is so often the catalyst for a lot of good things and a lot of bad things that we have to deal with in our life. And when I think about career, I'm going to share a couple of mine. And this is the area, like, you'll notice it's the biggest area of the entire worksheet, because it controls so much of our ability to do the other things, right? And I think about a couple of years ago, where this career and financial goals for me was work 2 jobs, right? Pay off debt, pay off medical bills, so on and so forth, right? And now it's very much being about, okay, how do I grow a business? How do I become more economically sound? How do I start saving for my future, right? Being at this age and thinking about 30 years from now, right? Understanding what we talked about earlier in patience, talking about this idea of, how do I move towards this thing that in 30 years, this is the Michael that I will be. That is what this is about, right? And so when it comes to career and financial, I'll share a couple of mine with you. Now, you have to think, I'm self-employed. I own Think Unbroken. It is a company. It is a business. But also it's my hobby, right? It's my life. It's my adventure. It's my health. It's my relationship, my spiritual. So much of what Think Unbroken is who I am. And so in order for those other buckets to be filled, like, I have to be able to fill the career side of it. And so I'll share a couple of those with you. One is that I'm going to launch the Think Unbroken, Understanding and Overcoming Childhood Trauma audiobook. I just got caught up on my own words there. I was trying to read this, I don't know the damn name of the book. So I've been recording the audiobook version of this. It's coming out soon. That is a 2021 goal. Can I get that done? Can I accomplish that in 2021? That has a time parameter on it that says February 15th. Can I launch that book by February 15th? That is my goal. I'm working my face off on it right now, because I want that to be accessible to people, right? And then, can I write my new book? 2021, can I release the new book? Yes, I already started writing it. I have the title, I have it registered, trademarked, all of those things. It will be coming out in 2021. And the thing is, that I didn't put a time frame on. I said, how can I write this book in 2021? How can I have this done and ready to go in 2021, not May 2021? I could do that. And I do work effective under deadlines, and that may work for you. But when it comes to writing, I find that not to be my style. And many of you know I blog all the time. I share content all the time. I'm always doing those things. But when it comes to book writing, the way that I step into it is a little bit different. So that's one of my goals. 2021, can and will I release that book? Absolutely. Do I know when? Not yet, but it's coming. And then a couple other ones. And again, I don't know. COVID may impact this. I don't know yet, but I do know that I want to speak in 20 cities, right? I love that we can come together right now internationally and share this experience and these moments and talk about how we step into 2021 together. But I love doing it in person even more. I love the idea of feeling the energy, answering the questions, being there in person with you guys. And that's so much about what it is for me. And financially, because this is important. I wrote this, so I want to share it with you. I want to save $20,000. in 2021. Can I do that? I have no idea. I don't know. That's to me as a kid who was in poverty and homeless, and $20 is like a bazillion to save $20,000. Like my brain goes, it's doable. So how do I do it? Do I have to get another job? Do I have to sell 10,000 books? Do I have to start actually paying myself with my business? So many of these questions start popping up, right? And so I'm thinking about how do you do that? Because all of this is about like here at the high level, we write these goals. And then at the end of it, we reverse engineer and we come all the way back to the beginning and we think about, okay, how do I put myself in a position to reach that goal? One step at a time, right? One step at a time, through patience, through understanding, through self-belief, through changing the way we think about ourselves in the world. All of the goals that you're writing right now are all attainable. They are all achievable. There is no reason that anything that you've written on this paper can't be something that you achieve within your life. Now, again, it may not be 2021. Fine, so be it. That is the world. That is the nature of the world. The most important thing that you can do, though, is move forward. Every single day, can you move forward? Can you take the steps every single day to show up for yourself and in alignment with your statement of purpose, with your core values, and in the light that you are going to do this? That's so much of what this is. And I want to tell you, just by being in here right now, all over the world. I mean, we have people from South Africa, Croatia. We have people from America, from Australia in this right now. And the people who are going to succeed in life are going to be the people who take this and they tape it up on the wall and they look at it every day and they take a baby step. My challenge to you guys as we head into 2021 is, can you take a baby step every single day to move towards these goals? Can you take a baby step every single day to be successful in your life, to be the hero in your own story, to ultimately be the person who sits back, looks at this, takes a pen, writes a check mark and says, I did it. And I believe that you can do this. The only thing that's going to stop you is you. There's nothing in the world that can keep you from this, right? The thing that you have to think about in order to be successful in life is, are you willing to do the hard things? Are you willing to show up for yourself every single day? Are you willing to be the hero in your own story? Like, it is your time, my friends. For so long, we have been stuck in this place where we feel like the world is against us, but I'm here to tell you that's not the case. Now is your time. It is now the moment in which everything's going to change for you. And if you haven't had goals before and this feels scary or daunting to you, which is totally understandable because I think it is for a lot of people, be patient with yourself. Don't judge yourself if you don't do the thing every day, but also challenge yourself. Like, will you put yourself in a position to be successful by doing hard shit? Not because it's hard, but because it will make you better, right? Being unbroken, thinking unbroken, being this person who heals and overcomes from trauma and exists in the world despite all the things that happen is about showing up for yourself first. And as we start to wrap up here, I want to thank you guys for all being here and being a part of this and talk about the second worksheet. This other worksheet, goals, the acronym Get Off Your Ass and Learn Something, is about just that. So take this worksheet, download it. If you're just tuning in, thinkunbroken.com/goals, download the worksheet, fill this guy out on your own, because that is there for you. It goes right alongside with this guy to help you be successful in your life. And again, if you haven't, please check out Think Unbroken on paperback. There's a link in my bio. You can grab yourself a free copy. I'm giving out, at this point, I think there's 200 left. They're not going to last very long. So thinkunbroken.com/free book. Or if you want, you can also buy the copy on Amazon. And the last thing that I'll ask you is to please check out the Michael Unbroken podcast. You can literally just search Michael Unbroken podcast on Amazon. I think it is not Amazon, excuse me, on iTunes, on Spotify, on everywhere, right? So check that out, like it, subscribe to it, rate, review, share this with a friend, check in with me. Let me know how your goals are going. Let me know where you're stuck. Let me know where I can help you. You know, one of the biggest things that I do in coaching is we create game plans to reach and achieve these goals. This workshop came exactly from and directly from the Think Unbroken Academy workshop, which is this huge in-person workshop that I get to do unlike the times of COVID, in which we go and we break down and we create these pathways to success. And I want to be here to support you in that. So, my friends, thank you so much for being a part of this. Please share it with a friend. Please check out the Michael Unbroken podcast. Please grab yourself a copy of Think Unbroken on paperback. It means the world. It helps me fuel this thing right here. And until next time, my friends, be unbroken. I'll see ya.